Here's 3 reasons why I have not forgotten about XCN, even though nothing I say is financial advice, and also I'm not telling anyone to do anything. However, reason number 1 is going to have to be because of the fundamentals, and reason number 2 is going to have to be because of the hypothetical price that I'm seeing, and number 3 is going to be because of the timing, I think, of Onyx in terms of its existence within the space of global trade and finance. But I first want to talk about reason 1, and then naturally I'm going to go to reason 2, reason 3, and yeah. But here's the thing. Reason number 1, again, is because of the fundamentals. Onyx is focused on global trade and finance, primarily speaking, alongside something like Stellar, something like XDC, Zebic, and as well as XPR, Swiftcoin, and Ripple too. The thing is this. Unlike XDC or unlike XLM, which has a pretty massive market cap, or unlike something like XPR, Swiftcoin, which has a relatively kind of small market cap in the grand scheme of things, XCN is kind of in that middle ground, right? It's kind of in that mid-tier sort of space alongside something like Zebic, which I don't mind, by the way, because that's something that I actually like personally, because I like it because it's not too big, it's not too massive, so at least it's more established, right? But it's not like dinosaur level where the market cap is just too massive. Keep in mind, I'm not an archaeologist, right? I'm not looking for dinosaurs, that's the thing. So I'm not looking for something with such a massive market cap, but I'm not looking for dust either. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking for something a little bit in between. So that's why I kind of like something like, for instance, Onyx. I also like Zebic because it kind of has a similar market cap to XCN. The thing is this, though. People like to tell me no one really cares about global trade and finance. Well, again, if something like Stellar is around, if something like XDC is around and all this, I highly doubt that arguably the number 5 project within that space of global trade and finance is just randomly going to go off into the abyss. I highly doubt that. So when I take a look at something like Onyx, I'm still a fan. And again, that concludes my first reason as to why I have not forgotten about XCN. Now, reason number 2, I want to talk about the price. The thing is this, XCN as of right now is around, when I take a look at it, right, 40 times lower approximately than 25 cents, which people may be thinking like, wow, that's terrible. Like, who cares? The thing is, the reason why I care is because, sure, people like to say this is kind of not a good thing, but I like it for dollar cost averaging purposes. And again, I'm literally looking for a project that's not even that massive anyways, but not too small either. So for some other people out there, this may not seem like a pleasant thing, but it is for me, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but this is what I'm looking for, right? Some of my friends out there, they purposely look for projects, right? They're not too massive but not too small either. And I'm one of them, right? This is my perspective. Now, the thing is this, actually at 25 cents, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around 9 billion. So it's not going to be breaking any records, but it doesn't need to anyways, It's just never going to become the biggest project out there. Like, who thinks that Onyx is ever going to become bigger than XDC or Stellar? I don't. I just don't think it's a hypothetical possibility during this cycle. So why would I even think about that? I don't even want to think about that. I personally just think about Onyx in the context of, maybe slightly below 10 billion in terms of market cap. That's pretty much about it. But again, if there's over 600 million owners within this space, which apparently we do have, also if there's allegedly, right, not yet an altcoin season, yet we have this many owners, and also on top of that, not having that many projects that are focused on global trade and finance that are that popular anyways. Like, personally, I don't think about more than 10. Like, I think about, again, Ripple, Stellar, XDC, Onyx, Zebic, XPR, Swiftcoin, but that's pretty much about it. That's less than 10. So when I take that into consideration, I still like the presence overall when it comes to Onyx. And if, let's say, there's that hypothetical attention for this space of global trade and finance, and yet there's not that many famous projects to begin with, the attention won't be spread out as much, right? It would be more sort of focused on the ones that do actually exist and are pretty popular. And sometimes I do see it trickle down. Like, for instance, sometimes it goes down to XLM, then XDC and all this. So if, let's say, there's a hypothetical altcoin season, who knows if it can maybe trickle down to something like XCN, but I just saw that actually in the beginning of last year. So I'm still waiting. That's pretty much about it. Now, reason number 3 is because of the timing of the existence of Onyx. Now, this is just purely speculative on my perspective, but the reason why I think about this is because when I take a look at, for instance, Nokia, if I was using a phone back in 2000, which I clearly would not have been able to, but I'm just saying at that time, but I'm just saying still, had I been able to use a phone at that time, I'm using Nokia, right? But simply, there wasn't that many compelling options in my perspective at that time either, if I take a look back at it historically speaking. The thing is this, in the global trade and finance space as of right now, within this specific space, there's just simply not that many famous projects like I mentioned before, right? Because back then there was no iPhone. Had there been an iPhone back then, probably it's kind of game, set, match at that point, right? Probably iPhone's just going to win at that point, but there wasn't at that point. There is now. But had this been back then, had the space of phones not really been as kind of advanced as it is as of right now, it's a completely different case, right? It's like Nokia, Motorola, and all this. So if I take a look at it within this global trade and finance space as of right now, it kind of reminds me of Nokia, that sort of vibe back then. But then it's kind of like in this space as of right now, there's just simply not that many options. Had Onyx maybe launched 5 years later, 10 years later, okay, it's going to be cooked, in my opinion. It's going to get deep fried and all this, steamed, stir fried, grilled. It's going to get barbecued, right? I mean, there's just a lot of possibilities at that point. But good thing Onyx is right here, right now. It's not later on, right? Later on, there's going to be more competition, more sort of, projects that probably appear. It's not going to be such a good thing when it comes to Onyx, considering how Onyx isn't necessarily reinventing the wheel by any means. But I don't mind, though, because sure, I mean, the biggest thing that they're probably working towards is the mainnet of their layer 1 blockchain called Goliath. That's kind of it, basically, in my perspective. Of course, they're doing other things, but that's kind of the main thing I'm focused on. Like, that's not reinventing the wheel. That's not going to be able to, overtake XDC. No, it can't do that with that. It can't overtake even XLM with that, let alone, right? But does it need to? No, it's at a space as of right now, which it doesn't have that much stiff competition. And also on top of that, it's not really doing anything that revolutionary either, but it doesn't need to because it's at a point where it's not required for that, right? It's not 5-10 years later. We're not talking about 2036, right? We're talking about 2026. So those 3 reasons right there are why I'm still, not forgetting about something like XCN. But this is just personally my perspective, right? I'm not telling anyone to do anything. However, this is just my thoughts as of right now. Sure, things are looking really boring as of right now. It's not looking fun. It's not looking exciting. But you know what? By me holding, I don't feel any sort of extra pressure or anything because I'm still living my life anyways, right? Either I'm holding or I'm not. So I'd rather be holding personally for me, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything. And also on top of that, looking at news when it comes to Onyx, looking at updates and all this, it's stuff I originally would have done anyways. So yeah, I just haven't given up and I'm still waiting. But that's personally all I can do as of right now. So I just wanted to make this video to kind of highlight my thoughts as of right now when it comes to Onyx, why I haven't forgotten about it. And also I kind of feel like XCN is experiencing this alongside CBCN, XDC, and all the other options within this space. So it's not like it's the only one. But yeah, I'm going to stay waiting, and that's pretty much about it. So I want to say thank you for watching. I hope you all have a very nice day, and feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and also feel free to like the video if you liked it. I greatly appreciate it. I'll be making more updates when it comes to Onyx. And yeah, it's Melody the Captain, and I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.